If you've been following my channel from the beginning, you'll know that Fenway Park was the first video I ever did. That video really didn't do it justice though, so we're going to redo Fenway Park with the current video format that I've been doing for the other ballparks and stadiums on my channel. So with that being said, Fenway Park is located in Boston, Massachusetts, and home of the Boston Red Sox. Every photo you see today was taken by me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. You can write in the comment section what you like about this ballpark. And with that, let's start the tour. Fenway Park is the oldest ballpark in all of Major League Baseball. It opened up back in 1912 and has a current capacity of 37,755. There are a lot of things about Fenway Park that make it iconic. I would say the most iconic thing that everybody knows about when they think about Fenway is the green monster in left field. It is only 310 feet away from home plate and 37 feet tall. Anybody that's watched a Red Sox game on TV has seen what the green monster looks like from the field side. This is what it looks like actually from the street view. So if you're walking behind the green monster on the street, this is what it looks like. The green monster did not always have seats on it. The seats were actually added on top of the green monster in left back in 2003. Again, in this video, just trying to give you some views that you may not typically see. This is what it looks like looking straight down on the field if you're on top of the green monster. I visited this ballpark, Fenway Park, back in 2017. I want to say right up front that I have not been back since they did the renovation extension in right field. So you can see here at the New Balance sign that they do not have that add-on. I just wanted to point that out. So, anybody that's been in the ballpark since, there isn't an add-on there and I have not been back. So you will not see it in this video. Since we were just talking about that region and the New Balance sign, this is a view from the street looking back towards the ballpark, and this is where that add-on was put in place in right field. Fenway Park is a very old ballpark, but with that being said though, every seat is chairback seating, which is very nice. However, don't look too close at the seats. The seats themselves are actually not very nice. If you can see from this photo, the seats are very old. Left field has the iconic green monster, so right field has its own special thing, and it has Pesky's pole, located only 302 feet from home plate. You can see from this view, though, that the wall quickly jets out and gets a lot deeper behind that, but right at the pole, it's only 302 feet. Every part of this field has weird field dimensions. Moving on to center field, you have the triangle, and that jets out all the way to 420 feet. Both bullpens are located in right field, right up against the fence. You have a short fence, then the bullpen, and then the seatings beyond that. All the outfield seating towards center field and right field, it's all just a single tier of seating. Beyond the seating in center field, they have these two large video boards, the largest one being in dead center field. And something I always notice when I'm looking at Fenway Park on TV, above that large video board is the large John Hancock sign. Staying talking about that same outfield seating, all that seating out there you can see from this view is all green, which is different than the rest of the seating in the ballpark. Located right in the middle of all those green seats, though, is one red seat. If you know the history of Fenway Park, then you already know that that is to basically say where Ted Williams hit the longest home run, and that was 502 feet. Moving on from the outfield seating, there are technically 3 tiers of seating down the left field line and behind home plate. The right field line is very similar. However, Fenway Park is not symmetric, so the third level of seating actually stops once you get to the outfield if you're going down the right field line. I mentioned that the outfield seats are green. The rest of the seating is mostly red, except for the middle tier of seating is blue, and then the seating that's located underneath the upper 2 decks is actually blue as well. Fenway Park and Wrigley Field are the last of the Jewel Box ballparks. So with that being said, you can see from here that the seating is very similar to Wrigley Field, where you have columns coming down in the seating. If you've watched my video on Wrigley, you can see that there's an instance where a guy sat behind the pole. So very similar in that concept to Wrigley. If you are sitting in the blue seats in the lower level, it is covered up, so it's very dark in there and your sight line's not great. It's similar to Wrigley Field as well, where you're really not being able to see the sky if you're sitting in those seats. With all these crazy field dimensions and the layout of the ballpark, one of the main reasons for that is it's on a very small lot size. A lot of the newer ballparks, they have, a lot bigger layout. This one's very tiny. So it's actually impressive that it has such a large capacity for how small the lot is. Given the very small lot size and how this ballpark's crammed in, it provides very nice seating. Even if you're in the upper deck here, you can see that you're very close to home plate, unlike some of the newer ballparks. If you are seated up in the upper deck, another nice feature is you have a great view of the Boston skyline. I think that's a nice addition that I don't think a lot of people actually talk about. The upper deck only has 10 rows of seating. I think it's kind of interesting that a lot of the new ballparks, people are really liking the fact that they're going to a smaller upper deck. And here we have Fenway, which is the oldest ballpark, and it has a very small upper deck already. Looking at the press box for Fenway Park, I've always found it very interesting. It's kind of bulky. It's kind of a unique layout given the fact of how old it is. And right in the middle of the press box, you have the iconic Fenway Park. I know I listened to Bill Burr. He talked about performing there and looking out and seeing that Fenway Park and giving him chills. So it's just another icon to the ballpark. I mentioned the two large video boards / scoreboards out in center field. They also have a smaller scoreboard down the right field line, which you can see here. I talked a lot about the Green Monster early on in the video, but I actually didn't show you what an actual view of home plate looks like from the Green Monster. So we're going to go back to the Green Monster, and this is a view towards home, and then I'm going to touch on one more thing at the Green Monster. Tucked away on top of the Green Monster is this green Coca-Cola vending machine. I think it's the only one in the world is what they said, but I don't know if that's actually true or not. It'd be cool if someone could fact check that. There's a lot of quirky things with Fenway Park, starting with that Coke machine. Another thing is they actually have a farm on the roof where they grow a lot of their fresh produce, and you can see it here. Another interesting thing I didn't know about until I went to Fenway Park is if you walk down this street behind the Green Monster out towards center, you can get to a bar that's actually located in center field. Obviously not located on the field itself, but you can see right here that the wall has a metal screen, and you can see right basically you're at field level. You can walk in, have a drink at this bar. There was no game going on when I went. I think it's very cool that they have this. If you look up towards the Budweiser sign out in right field, right below that, they have a lot of tables and chairs. It doesn't have your typical seating, so it's a very cool area to go hang out during a game. Unfortunately, this isn't a view of those tables and chairs. It was actually shown in a previous slide. This is in that similar area, though. You can see some of the chairs that are similar to that, but this is more of a continuous table. They actually have individual tables as well. This is down below that area out in right field. Very cool place to go in and walk around. It's like a museum that has a lot of history and cool artifacts. Well, not artifacts, but cool things like balls and different things used in the games throughout Red Sox history. So I would definitely recommend checking this out when you can. Staying inside the ballpark, this is a look at the lower concourse. I believe this is behind home plate. It's always cool to see what the concourse looks like at the older ballparks. I would recommend going back to my Wrigley video and comparing that concourse area to this one. This is a view inside the visiting team locker room. Unfortunately, I was unable to go in and look at the Red Sox locker room, which is pretty common for a lot of ballparks or stadiums, though. I want to point out that Fenway Park is the oldest ballpark in all Major League Baseball. I think people sometimes have this idea, though, that Fenway looks the same as it did back in 1912. This is a photo showing what it looked like back in 1914, and you can see that it's clearly different. So it's had a lot of changes over the years. So it's the same ballpark, but not exactly what it was back in 1912. Another thing that really stands out Fenway Park are the light towers. They have each tower is individual and then a large bank of lights on top. Something else I've always noticed about Fenway Park is out in the outfield, there's really no foul territory. The seats are just a few feet away from the foul line, so if they hit a screaming line drive, those people are right there. And the people running over to catch the ball in the field, they really don't have much room at all in foul territory. This is a view of Fenway Park from one of the towers. We went there when we were in Boston, had a drink, and we could look out at Fenway. I think it's a great view of what the neighborhood looks like. I don't think everybody realizes that there's a freeway that's just a block away from the ballpark. This is outside Fenway Park, right behind home plate. It says Yawkey Way. I just want to point out that that is no longer the name. They renamed it to Jersey Street, I believe. This is outside Fenway Park going down the right field line on Van Ness Street. Given how long this ballpark's been around, just want to point out that it's not just a baseball ballpark, that football's also been played here professionally and in college. They now have the Fenway Bowl for college that started, I think, in 2022. Every video I like to throw in a photo of myself at the ballpark, just showing I was actually there. Technically in this video I had another photo of myself early on, but I didn't mention that at the time. This takes us towards the end of our tour. One thing I didn't really talk too much about was the middle tier of seating, so you can see a close-up of it here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. You can write in the comments section what ballpark or stadium you want me to do a video on next. I hope you like the fact that I redid this video. I love Fenway Park. I felt like it didn't, like I said, the old video didn't do it justice. So I was very happy and had a lot of fun redoing Fenway Park and doing this video. So with that, take care until next time.